Here we are again, everybody. Happy New Year. It is January the 1st, 2024. Vinyl tag time. I really enjoy doing the vinyl tag. I looked back last year to see when I did the 2023 vinyl tag, and it was actually January the 1st, so I thought I would keep a little consistency, and with thanks to Rob Walker. He has put forth another 20 questions for the 2024 vinyl tag. 20 great thought-provoking questions. Thank you again, Rob, for providing these. These are always fun. So 20 questions. I think I've got 20 things to show, or at least 20 answers. And let's get it started. Question number 1. Favorite record purchased in 2023? Now, I don't believe Rob indicated whether this is a new release or a reissue, but this was probably the biggest purchase for me, not only for through anticipation of its release, but also the money that I had to put in, which I typically don't. And that is the MoFi one-step release of From Elvis in Memphis. I think everyone's familiar with these releases. They're numbered copies of 10,000, 3187. I haven't opened mine yet. To be quite honest, I've been waiting for the perfect time to do so, and I really haven't arrived at that opportunity yet, so it's forthcoming. Probably a top 1 or 2, or even no greater than a top 3 Elvis album of mine. When I heard about that release coming out, it was one that I just knew I had to pull the trigger on, and I'm glad that I did. I'm just waiting for the perfect time to present itself. So that's what I regard as my favorite purchase from 23. The last LP bought in 23, and that is The Second Coming by Rudolph Johnson. And this is a one of many that were reissued on Black Jazz. This kind of comes with this black and gold kind of, sorry about the glare, folks, vinyl. I believe this was reissued in 2021. Yes, I have several of the Black Jazz reissues, and they're all great. This is the latest one the latest purchase that I made, which was actually last week in my local record store. Rudolph Johnson. Question number 3. Show an artist that has released 2 albums in 1 year. And there's several artists, of course, over the years that have done that, but I kind of wanted to take a step off the beaten path. And I'm going with a French prog band who released 2 albums in 1974. I'm not even going to try to attempt to pronounce them. Both of my copies are music on vinyl reissues. This is the first one. Maybe I will try. Cantarkos. Butchered it. My apologies. And both of these were limited to 2,000 copies. Sorry. This one is what they call voodoo vinyl. Sort of an orange and yellow kind of a splatter. And the second one, Wordaita. Again, music on vinyl reissue to 2,000 copies. And this was actually one that I got in the last couple weeks, or last week. I had sort of ordered it in advance so that it would arrive the week of Christmas, just sort of new material to listen to. And it's on purple vinyl. You can't tell. It's a very dark purple vinyl. It looks black to the eye, but when you hold it up to the light, it's purple. So those are 2 from Magma. Of course, again, these are reissues, but both originally released in 1974. Question number 4. If you could only listen to 1 decade of music. Tough call for me. My teens were through the 80s, but I didn't when I was young, getting into music, like say 9, 10, and then into my early teens, I didn't really listen to what was big of the time. So back then, those were kind of, you know, the 80s, but I wasn't listening to what was big during the 80s at that time. I was heavily influenced by mostly classic rock, which is what I grew up to listening to, because that's what my dad listened to, and he was a big music head. So I wouldn't want to say 80s. I'd have to go 70s, I think. And maybe the best LP to show for the decade is Neil Young's decade, which is mostly stuff through the 70s, which is a compilation of Neil's, but a little tongue-in-cheek show with Neil's decade there. 1970s. Question number 5. Show an album from Manchester, band from Manchester. To my knowledge, I believe the Hollies are from Manchester, and this is their album Evolution. And I believe this is an original, if not an early pressing on the Yellow Epic label. The Hollies. Love that psychedelic cover. Question number 6, which artist did you listen to the most in 2023? I thought about this, and on the surface it was, you know, try to decipher which artists you kind of grab the most records and listen to during the year. And then I kind of thought about that. I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but I'm playing William Basinski's Melancholia. William Basinski is a, if you can hear it, I'm not sure if it's coming through or not. Ambient, very minimal type of music. Some of his stuff, as is the case with this album, Selva Oscura, a lot of sort of drony, almost background, late at night urban sounds. It's not eerie, but I find it very ambient and relaxing. And the reason why I have selected William Basinski as the artist I've listened to the most is because it's his music I actually listen to at night. Not the physical stuff in the LPs or the CDs. Mostly streaming at night. I'm not a great sleeper, so I don't listen to physical music at night, either before I go to bed or as I'm laying down to go to sleep. But it's background stuff, and easily 100 days, 150 days of the year, I'll put on some of Basinski's stuff just to kind of help me sleep, because hearing it kind of calms me and just kind of settles me as I need prep to sleep, because I do struggle with trying to fall asleep. So I think easily I would say Basinski as listening to his music. Again, not physical media, but I am listening to his music more than anybody. Excuse me, folks, I still have a bit of a hoarse throat, so I'm going to the water. Okay, next question is question number 7. Show 7 inches. One thing that I don't think I've ever really done, and those who watch me or know me know that I like to collect Elvis. I don't consider myself a record collector, but when it comes to Elvis, I consider myself an Elvis collector, and that is show 7 inches or EPs from Elvis. So I just quickly picked out 7 interesting, I hope you find interesting, mostly EPs from Elvis. Elvis sings Christmas songs. Jailhouse Rock. And these are all in, decent conditions. This is King Creole. See if I can get the track listing on there. And these are all either Canadian or American releases. Viva Las Vegas. Peace in the Valley, track listing across the top banner. And a couple of Japanese singles. This is You Don't Have to Say You Love Me and Patch It Up. And the last one is Burning Love and It's a Matter of Time. There you go, 7 inches. Question number 8. You want to invite 4 artists to a dinner party. Artists that are just, interesting. I just went with 4 simple ones. I wasn't sure if it was living, had to be somebody that was living or dead. I just went with 4 big name artists who I love, I've always listened to, and I just think would be interesting to talk with. There are many, but I capped it at 4, obviously. Keith Richards, Frank Zappa, Neil Young, and Elvis. Question number 9, artist who passed away in 2023. Domestic singer-songwriter extraordinaire, very well known in Canada, and that is Gordon Lightfoot. This is his, Did She Mention My Name on, it's Canadian pressing on United Artists, all black Canadian artists. Gordon Lightfoot died on May the 1st, my wife's birthday last year. I think he was 84 years old. Big loss in the music industry here in Canada. I had the privilege to see Gord once about 6 or 7 years ago in town here, so I was very happy to be able to have seen him. But Canadian legend, lost him last year. Rest in peace, Gord. Question number 10. Country's music to listen to. If you had to pick one country, you can only listen to their music. I mean, there's 2 big ones, obviously, right? Some people would say, well, if you're Canadian, you should pick Canada. There are a lot of Canadian artists, great, new and old. But I'd have to go UK. I just think with my tastes and the extent and diversity of stuff that's come out of the UK, I'd have to say UK. Question number 11, 3 VC channels discovered in 2023. I'm going to link them all below. I'm going to try very hard to remember to include links to their channels in the description below. There were many, but to cap it at 3, I'm going with Rich at VU Meters, who actually did his very first video last night, which I watched. It's there. It's great. Rich has been in streams and made comments on other people's videos in the VC for quite some time, but admittedly so, he finally took the plunge yesterday to post his first VC video. So that's Rich at VU Meters. The second is Sean at the Vinyl Dreamscape. And Sean, I think he has, I'm not sure what the subscriber counts are for these folks. The counts always kind of go up and down, but I want to say Sean and the next guy, I think they have 300 and some odd subscribers, I'm going to say. Sean at the Vinyl Dreamscape. Sean has great diversity and taste in music. He's more into things that are maybe not as popular. I think maybe a good way to describe him, and maybe it's the other way around, but I would call him a young student of stunty. If anybody watches Stunt Rock Confusion's weekly streams, just a plethora of music that's not only fascinating, but music that's not very popular to probably most people in the VC. And I know that Sean, and maybe for a lot of the stuff Sean's been listening to for years, but Sean really enjoys and absorbs a lot of this stuff, as I do, and a lot of other people that watches stunty streams. Very, very keen and I don't want to say student because I don't want to kind of undermine where he is, but Sean, I think you know what I mean. Great channel, and he talks about some great things and some great music and artists. The last one is Fitz's Electric Bar. Who's Fitz? I believe Fitz is also a fellow Canadian. I think he's out in Vancouver, British Columbia. So Rich, Sean, and Fitz. Again, links below. Please check out all 3. I newly subscribed to them this year. Record number 10. And I'll show an album that you bought as a teenager. Really not much to show here. Supertramp, Crime of the Century, I was a student of my dad's in music growing up. He was a big Supertramp fan. This was a huge album released in 1974. This may have been one of the very first, or at least one of the first 5 records that I ever bought myself. And this is that copy that I actually bought when I was way back as a young teen. Supertramp, Crime of the Century. Excuse me. Question number 13. Show a funk soul record. And I'm going with I'm New Here by Gil Scott-Heron. This record is a 2016 reissue. Excuse me. Originally released in pardon me. Originally released in 2010. And sadly, Gil passed away less than a year after that. He died, I think this summer, the following year. I'm losing my voice. This is a great album. I'm going to pause for a second here just to relax my throat. But I mean, it truly is soulful. It's funky. Gil, of course, is well known for his huge track, "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised." But this was his last. I'm not sure if anything has been released posthumously, but this was his last studio released while he was still alive. It's really good. I'm New Here. Gil Heron Scott. Sorry, folks. I'm marching on. Question number, that was 13, 14. Show a record that everyone has and a record that no one has. First one that came to mind. Michael Jackson's Thriller. I think everybody knows it. I suspect most people own it. Sold a few copies. And one that no one has. Some jazz heads may have an odd copy of this laying around. This is the London Experimental Jazz Quartet, an album called Invisible Roots. These people, this quartet is from London, Ontario, which is about an hour west of me. I'm not even sure what year it was released. Small independent label. I don't even know what the name, if there even is a name. I'm going to quickly take it out of the jacket here and see if there's anything on the label that I can show. No, it just says London Experimental Jazz. Oh, sorry, Scratch Records. Apologies. There you go. Not a very exciting label, but if you check out the price of this record, excuse me, online, it goes for insane money. Now, my copy is warped. Plays through no problem, but I mean, there is a noticeable warp to it. This record sells for hundreds of dollars and has sold for hundreds of dollars on Discogs. I got this in a kind of a used CD, record, video game type of store in a crate on the floor for 20 bucks. So I don't think a lot of people have this. The London Experimental Jazz Quartet, Invisible Roots. Next question. Excuse me. An LP, can't even read my writing. An LP from a female artist that you purchased in 2023. So I went with Japanese percussionist Midori Takada. And Midori is now in her early 70s. This album is called Through the Looking Glass. Originally released in 1983. This is a 20, did I write it down here? 2017, this was reissued. It is ambient, it's electronic, it's experimental. There's classical tinges in this. It's a beautiful album, and I love that artwork too. So again, Japanese percussionist Midori Takada. Favorite video made and favorite video watched in 2023. Well, I was actually quite shocked and embarrassed, because reviewing the videos that I made last year, I only made 14 videos for the entire year, which hopefully I can change in 2024. But to pick a favorite video from 14, I mean, I landed at a tie. I made 2 videos that were post VC meetup videos. One with Rob at Northern Revolutions. Rob doesn't live far from me. He's 30 minutes east of here. And we met up one day early in the spring. We went to a record show together. It was the first time we had met. And it was a great time. So that video documents the day that we had. If I remember correctly, I think Rob's wife was sick. So the original plan was to do some digging and then maybe go for lunch together. But he had to head home for his wife. He had his son with him, but because his wife wasn't well, we put that aside for the day. But we'll make up for that. So it was great. So the video for me is a great recollection of the day that Rob and I had to dig together. And it was the first time that we had met. The second one additionally was the same, in the same vein. It was a post VC meetup with Jamie Cottle, who I had met. It was a second or third time I think we'd gotten together this year. Did some digging together in his hometown. There's a couple of record stores we go to, and then out for lunch. And like the day with Rob, they're great days. And these videos for me is a reminder of kind of the time we had together, and also sort of a reminder of what I bought. So those were, what I would consider as a tie as favorite video made for the year. Favorite video watched? I don't know. I watch a lot of videos. A lot of videos are great, and there really isn't one that stands out over the others. So my first and only pass for a question in this VC tag for favorite video watched. Question number 17. We're getting there, folks. A 90s classic. And this is a classic 90s band, one of the biggest bands from the 90s. And originally I thought I'd go with their big album, which everybody knows, but then I thought, no, I'm going to go with Nirvana's Unplugged in New York. Not only is this a fantastic record, I think of all of the artists through the 90s that performed in the Unplugged circuit, I think Nirvana's was the best. I really liked Alice in Chains as well, but I think Nirvana was the best. So I'm going with the Unplugged album of Nirvana. This is an original pressing of the album, by the way. My wife bought this for me about 10 years ago. She got it, still has the hype sticker, as you can see, and it's still in the shrink wrap. It was still sealed. I've opened it, of course, to listen to it, but when she bought this, it was still sealed for 40 bucks, original pressing. Yeah, Unplugged, Nirvana. Okay, question number 18. An album cover to be a part of. So if you were to pick any album cover and look at the album cover and kind of jump into that album cover, that would be really cool to kind of be part of that cover or what's kind of going on. Pick a cover. And I don't even have to describe it. I'm going to show you this and everyone's going to say, yep. And you'll know exactly why. Oh, to Dream. Feels like a greatest hits. So pick an album that you think it's the greatest hits. 1971, Stones, Sticky Fingers. Every song. Awesome. I think everybody knows this this album. Brown Sugar, Sway, Wild Horses, Can't You Hear Me Knocking, You Gotta Move, Bitch, I Got the Blues, Sister Morphine, Dead Flowers, Moonlight Mile. It's like a greatest hits. Rolling Stones. And we've made it. We're at the last question. I've made it. Hopefully you're still here. Thank you if you are. I appreciate you sticking along for the ride. I am almost approaching half an hour here. Wow, might be my longest video ever. Okay, pick an album from 1974. The significance, of course, is in this coming year, this album, or whatever album you pick, is going to be celebrating its 50th anniversary. This is an album from Roberta Joan Anderson. Yes, no? Otherwise known as Joni Mitchell. This is Joni's 74 issue of Court and Spark. Fantastic album of hers. Probably my favorite. She's got so many great records though. I'm gonna say top 3. That is her artwork that's on the cover there. Again, out in 1974. Joni, I think it might be her biggest commercial album. Just fantastic from start to finish. Free Man in Paris, Help Me, Raised on Robbery were the singles. The last of the 3, of course, was the big hit for her. I love this record. And actually, I believe it was released in January of '74, so within the next 2 or 3 weeks or so, that is when this album will be hitting 50 years old, half a century. Incredible. As incredible, Rob Walker, thank you for these 20 great questions, thought-provoking questions. As always, it's wonderful to go through and give you the answers. I hope you folks do the same. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen here, and I highly encourage you to visit the VC channels that I'm going to link in the description below and check them out. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.